So we got a no cooling call this morning. The first thing I noticed was we got some oil around this liquid dryer here. It's weird because my RTRM's not giving me a lockout, but I do have a call between my common and my yellow cooling. So I don't know why the RTRM hasn't locked out. Basically we're on continuity now. I've got a open low pressure switch. So we're gonna get some bubbles, bubble this guy. You can see the liquid lines rubbing right there too. That's probably where it's gonna be leaking at. So we'll take a look, we'll get some bubbles on it and see. Probably gonna have to fix the leak. So we got a little bit of pressure on it here. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but just as I suspected, we rubbed right through there on the suction line. So, get a torch and a vacuum up here and cross our fingers the compressor works. This unit has seen better days, but it's like the TXV was replaced not too long ago. Yeah, it's looks like a 2013. So this is for a quality lab, and it runs a lot, so it's probably time for it to go. But other than the leaking issues, the TXV was replaced and some coil damage back there, so we'll get the leak fixed and see what happens, see what that compressor sounds like with a good vacuum and some refrigerant in it. So we got our line pulled out here a little bit. Got some heat block on the insulation on the other side. I'll pull the valve cord. Get some nitrogen purging. Should be a pretty easy leak to fix. We had almost no pressure, but just slightly had some pressure, so, and the leak was on the high side. The dryer was just changed with the TXV, so we're not going to change the dryer. Call it what you want, but we're going to get this up and running here as quickly as possible. We'll pull a good vacuum. Another little spot here where they had their channel locks on it, it looks like, when they put that dryer in. So we'll get a bead of solder on it, get some pressure on it, make sure it holds, make sure we insulate everything so it don't rub through again, and then hopefully everything else goes well. As I said, I'm putting in for the discharge here. This is my head pressure control. So that's what I'm hearing clicking. Because I'm putting enough pressure there. So we're going to get about 100, 150 PSI on it. see it doesn't click if I go slow because I'm not putting enough pressure on it. Bring that pressure up. Make sure she holds. We'll pull a vacuum. So we held about 160 psi for about half an hour. We got our vacuum set up here. I'm pulling with my valve cores out. This has got a swivel T, so I'm still pulling through another valve core, but basically this makes my charging easy. I can isolate my vacuum pump there and my micron gauge there, charge the system, and I can get an accurate reading by closing my ball valve, and so I'm not pulling through my pump straight into the micron gauge. I am going through my manifold as well, so my manifold gauges will have vacuum on them. We'll isolate, we'll weigh in the charge, and then we'll be able to slide our valve cores back in. Yeah, we haven't been running that long. You can see we're down to about 1600 microns. We're dropping pretty quick. I got gas ballast open. We'll let it come down a little bit more, 1000 microns or so, and then we'll close the gas ballast, let it pull the rest of the way, and get this guy charged up. So, different unit, obviously. They asked me to take a look at this thing. This thing is ancient. Got a history with this unit, but used to have ammonia cooling, and it's was a steam heat loop. So, or it may have been hot water loop. Not 100% sure, but anyways, the ammonia began leaking in the coil, which in turn ate up our water coil, which was leaking all to hell. So I came out and repaired, I don't know, probably 26 leaks on the water coil. It has freeze protection fittings on the coil, and that's what a lot of them were looking like, was just starting to rot out, and a lot of them blew out completely. So there's my graveyard of old fittings. As I was trying to repair all those leaks, I spent about 3 days out here, and we have the water loop shut off here, and we've got a temporary chiller that's cooling the space. So he asked me to look at it because they saw the water and were concerned it was leaking again, but I'm not going to touch this thing too hard because it might start leaking at any minute. But I'm running 60 psi water pressure. I'm not terribly concerned about it. My chiller's running. We got good water flow up here, nice and cold. I did hook up a pressure control valve just in case it does leak water. This will keep the pressure at 50 psi, 60 psi or so. And it doesn't feel like it's feeding, so I don't think we're leaking. I think the drains are just plugged up on this thing. So we're gonna tell them to keep an eye on this. I'm not touching it. They gotta get a few more weeks out of it. Come November 1st, this whole unit's going. So this thing is seen better days, but we're gonna let this one be. Like I said, I don't want to touch anything too hard. This thing might start leaking at any minute. So that is our water coil. See, it's seen better days. One of the leaks I got in and fixed is down here. Back on that second row. So you can see all the crap in the drains. So we're gonna let them know I don't see or hear any major leaks on this one. Just keep an eye on it. Hopefully they can get a couple more weeks out of it. Now we get to take the long trek back down. This is killing my knees today, but there's our little guy down there. looks like our vacuum's right at 500 microns and ready to go. So lay it back down and check it out. And we're back. All right. Hey, what'd I tell you? I told you it was at 500 microns. Ain't gonna get much better on this. So even polishing the turd, guys. Try harder. I've got everything wire tied and secured. Just some 1/4-inch tubing on our liquid line here where it was rubbing on the backside, all the way through. Some more over here because this was the next rub out spot. It was hitting right here on the blower bracket. We got everything else secured, so trying to keep from anything else rubbing out on this thing. I don't want to carry all my crap up here again. So let's dump the charge. I think it's 4.9 pounds. Good old R22. We're at about 48 degrees supply. We're about 74 degrees on the return, so we got a fairly high temp drop. This ain't gonna be perfect. I'm not putting measure quick on it. We got 4.9. Looking all right. It's not, like I said, it's not perfect. Running about 90 degrees saturation. These analog gauges ain't perfect either. Suction looks a touch low, but my gauge is probably off. And we've got airflow issues. I was about a little above 60 psi, so about 35 to 38 degrees saturation on my evaporator. So we ain't gonna do too much better on this thing. It's got airflow issues. It's old, and the environment it's in is not good. Saw the damage to the coil. Rest of the coil's been combed down, but we're gonna call this one good for now. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a comment, and we'll see y'all on the next one.